Welcome to our latest episode of Florida in Motion. This episode of the newscast is going to focus in on a topic that I'm personally very passionate about, which is leadership philosophy. Over the years, I've been a recipient of and grateful for the tremendous depth of culture we have here at FDOT in our organization. And I'm really proud of the leadership team we have statewide. Many years of experience, tremendous diversity in terms of background, culture, heritage, where people come from, ambitions for the future. And so it's really important that we take time to glean the experiences of our leadership team, the things they've learned, the philosophies they believe in as we continue to forge a path into the future for the Florida Department of Transportation. I personally have had a very rewarding career here at DOT. I'm in a role that I never imagined I would be in. Started out as a PE trainee, fresh out of college, and had so many opportunities to work through different roles in this organization and progress into different levels of responsibility. And I've learned so much over that time. And as I reflect on that past and reflect on that history, I'm just so appreciative of the things that I've learned and the person that I've become because of those experiences. And so I want to share a few philosophies that I've learned that I've really begun to embrace and embody. So as a steward of the role that I'm currently serving in, I really believe it's important to respect and honor all of those that have come before me, to fully embrace the job today and do as good of a job as I can possibly do, and then to conduct myself in a way and make decisions in a way that forges a path for all those who come after me in the future to be successful. Another important aspect of leading that I've learned is that my success as an individual is 100% dependent on others. Realizing that in order for us to reach our full potential in a leadership role, I have to invest in people first. Anytime you're in a role where you're responsible for others and you're responsible for leading others, it's really important to remember that you're not the most important person in the room. And having a personality, a character of humility and selflessness can really help others rise to the occasion and reach their full potential. Now, with that humility and selflessness, it's also very important that leaders are confident and resolute. It's so important as a leader to listen intently to those that are supporting those that you're working with, and listening intently means that you act on what you hear. One last philosophy that I'll share is remembering when leading others that every interaction, every word that's spoken, it's important to treat others as though they are the most important at that very moment in time. And as we look into the future, I think it's important for leaders to remember part of our role and part of our job is to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage others perpetually. And that's something that takes time and energy and focus and dedication. And as we do that, perhaps we can encourage and inspire others to become leaders and to continue to grow our organization into the future. First of all, what has been a memorable challenge or opportunity for you as you've progressed through your career and moved into a leadership role?
So one thing that was very memorable for me, and it actually was over 40 years ago, believe it or not, but I was a Army officer, a brand new Army officer, and when you're a brand new Army officer, you have zero experience, but they immediately put you in charge of a group of people who have experience. And so I was a young field artillery officer, 22 years old, was given about 30 people to lead. And on day one, I realized that I didn't have much experience, but my job was to lead these people. And the best thing that ever happened to me was I had a couple of the non-commissioned officers who were the senior enlisted people who had been in the service for 15, 20 years that came to me and offered me help and told me, look, Lieutenant, I know it's kind of intimidating. You're coming in, you don't have experience, but you're supposed to lead us. We'll help you and we'll give you backup and we'll make sure that you're given guidance. And as you're making decisions, we'll support you. We just need to work as a team. And what that really taught me was early on was being a leader doesn't mean that you're just going and telling people what to do. It's that you're utilizing all the people that you have, everybody around you, to help guide you in making decisions. The leader doesn't have to know everything. They don't have to be able to make every decision on just what they know, but utilizing the experience and knowledge of all the people in your team makes you a much stronger leader than just trying to do it by yourself.
That is an interesting concept and probably a pretty crucial revelation in terms of successful leadership. And, I would be willing to suggest even that if in that situation you actually realize you're heavily reliant on other people, that it's really important that initially you build trust through relationships.
Absolutely. And it's a two-way street. I had people who were putting trust in me that I was going to take their guidance and I was going to work with them. And I had trust that they were going to work to make it look like I was making the decisions.
So you rely on others, you take ownership, responsibility, and you're accountable for whatever the outcome is. And
that's right.
We're all in this thing together.
Exactly.
So everybody in a leadership role has, I would say, a set of guiding principles or philosophies that kind of guide, how you lead, how you make decisions, how you interact with people. So maybe just talk about hit a few high points of what some of your philosophies and guiding principles are.
I think from a guiding principle, there's two things that I'm probably a broken record about, whether it was in District 4, Central Office, or in District 6. There are no wrong outcomes. There's just unexpected outcomes. So we didn't do something wrong and it wasn't a bad thing that happened. We learned something from every experience. So always keep that in the back of your mind. There's always a way to learn from an outcome. It was unexpected, but you can learn from that experience. And what we do at the Florida Department of Transportation, no matter who you are in the organization, from our highway maintenance technicians all the way up to you, we impact millions of people's lives every day. And remember that with everything that you do, every decision that you make, you're impacting millions of people's commute, how they go about their daily lives. And what we hope is they don't think about us because it just runs really well. So I think those are probably two of my guiding principles, along with the fact that I'm talking about what our values were and what was important to us. And I think first and foremost is respect, the respect that we provide each other. We can agree to disagree, but we have to be respectful while we're doing it, and how we communicate with each other. And keeping that in all of your thoughts, I think, makes us a better organization.
Yeah, those are really important qualities, and I really like the idea that every experience, every circumstance is a learning opportunity.
It is.
And although outcomes may not be what we intended or expected, it's an opportunity to learn and grow from it. I really like that concept. You and I have talked about this before, right? And so I know that you always saw the district secretary role as something you could do, but is it something when you came in as a professional engineer trainee, is that like the end game? Is that where Philip Gaynor wanted to end up as District 3 secretary, or is that something that kind of grew over time?
Well, I spent most of my life in the DOT world, and I did have a goal to be a district secretary. In fact, I applied for it 2 times when I didn't get the job. But I remained what I thought I needed to do, and I worked toward it. I was a director, and I became the chief engineer, and then I became the district secretary. But what I learned from that, I was so ready to be the district secretary before then, and then I realized that I really wasn't. So what I've realized since I became district secretary and leading up to that role is I can't do this by myself. I thought that if I could be district secretary, I could change the world and I could change the district and I could do such a good impact or great impact. But the truth of the matter is, I'm nothing without my team. You were part of my team, and I was nothing without your support, your help, and the people that I work for. Some of the people I work for from time to time was not necessarily good, what I would want to do, like they did, emulate, but I learned from that as well. But the truth of the matter is, I think what makes me a better, or I hope to be a good leader, what makes me a good leader is the fact that I have to depend on my people and I trust my people. And if I don't trust them, I got the wrong people in the room. I want them to trust me, and I want them to feel the same. And I do have that support. I have it from you now. I have it from the whole management team, the executive committee. They're all supportive of me, and I feel that all the time, but especially my leadership team. And I'm really proud to.
I think, you mentioned a couple of key terms in there. Trust is one of them. I think trust is something that our entire executive team has really, truly embraced. But at the end of the day, our relationships and our ability to work together really starts with trust. And that's something that is very important. So we have talked as part of this episode a little bit about our driving culture effort. Those are trust, respect, relationships, empowerment, and communication. Just real quick, which of those do you think you're best or strongest at, and which of those do you think you need to work the most on?
I believe that my strongest is trust. And what I strive for is that trust translates into empowerment. Can we always work on that? Yes. We tend to get going every day as we come in, and you have an unlimited list of items that need to be addressed. If we tend to go fast, we might overlook what resonates with an employee or a coworker, that they need to feel empowered. So it is a goal. I always say it's aspirational, but trust is essential in the financial realm. I can't say it enough how important that is to our team, that we trust one another. And in that, we then empower one another. I used to be concerned about people saying that an agency or coworkers are like family. And the longer I'm at FDOT, the more I realize you are a family. You're a different family. You're an extension of the family. And it's not because we see each other all the time, but it's because we do trust and respect each other. We work well together. We do our best every day when we come into work.
We're very busy. We have a lot of work. We have a lot going on. So, what does a set of priorities that you're going to focus on a daily basis, what does that look like?
So what I try to do is I've got a great team of managers and leaders within the district, and I rely on them, and I delegate a lot to them. But there's certain key things that I know that really require the attention of a district secretary. Sometimes those are things that are external, dealing with elected officials, dealing with community groups, or it may be dealing with other districts or the central office on very critical items that I feel like I really need to make myself deeply involved in. Again, delegate authority, retain responsibility. But I look for those things. So it's not one list of priorities on every day is a little bit different.
Talk a little bit about the influence that you receive, that your peers have on you being a member of an executive team of a multi-billion-dollar organization like FDOT.
I really appreciate, and again, the encouragement from the team. If we miss a meeting, they're on the phone call and want to know why. So it's more than just work. It's more than just professional, because if we're going to truly lead a billion-dollar organization, we got to be more than just coworkers.
Yep.
We got to be a family, and that's what I think we are.
Completely agree. So one parting thought, one philosophy, one idea you want to leave with listeners of this episode, what would that be?
I would say, no matter what your situation is, depend on your team. That's people below you, and that's also people above you. Depend on your team. Don't try to do everything yourself. And if you don't depend on them, and if you're out there on an island by yourself, and even you feel like in a district that you don't need to bring people into the fold, then you're not preparing your people for the future, and you're not preparing yourself for the future.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Florida in Motion newscast. I really hope you've enjoyed listening to the leadership philosophies of our various team members. And I hope you see the diversity of experience and background and strengths that each team member brings to our overall leadership team here at FDOT. This is one of the reasons why we started the Defining Culture workshops, where we bring our leadership team together statewide to discuss those things that are important to us, acknowledge what our culture is, and forge a path into the future. It's important as leaders that we embrace the concept of continuous improvement. We always want to get better. And as we're stewards of the roles that we're in, always striving to make things better is a fundamental concept that we all should embrace.